that strengthened by it, our sister Carol may come to the eternal table of Christ, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Please be seated, and at this time I'd like to invite Carol's granddaughter Crolyn to come forward and offer some words of remembrance.
Hi everyone. Thank you everybody for being here. It means so much to me and my family. I feel truly honored to be asked to speak at my grandmother's funeral. I feel like she was truly a woman of grace and dignity that I've always, since I was able to remember, wanted to emulate. I've always wanted to be like her. In the program it says granddaughter, but I wanted my mom to put life partner in there. She didn't think that would be funny, but I did. Because it's actually true. She was my best friend. So I guess this is like what's supposed to happen when your best friend is 80 and you're 30. You know, I did a project in school on aging, and you were supposed to go to like a nursing home or something. And I picked my gram to do the project on, and there were 3 themes in my grandmother's life. It was spirituality, her husband, and her family, which I think included all of her friends that she met along the way. Spirituality was a huge part of my grandmother's life. And she wasn't the type of person that always talked about it. Oh, I'm so spiritual, you know. She wasn't one of those like really annoying people. She just like lived spirituality, you know. And I saw that in the last year when she was diagnosed. I was having so much trouble with it, and she was like keeping us all going, you know, like she kept saying, I'm ready to go, but I'm gonna fight as long as I can, and I'm gonna live the best life I can live. And she was so proud of the people that came out and showed her support during this time. So many people came to visit. She loved to see Patty and Sue, and Mary sent gift baskets like I felt like it was every week, and she really kept it fun, you know. She, like when my gram lost all her hair, Mary sent this like Halloween wig up, you know, and we were wearing it around. You know, Barry's letter, you have no idea how much that meant to my grandmother. My other Aunt Mary brought food every Wednesday. My mom did food every Tuesday, you know, and invited old friends, so she was able to see so many people before she passed. And she was always so good. Like, she always loved to laugh. She always loved to be around people. She always had so much fun, and she was really up for anything. I remember, like, within the past couple of years, my cousin Paul's in a band, and she went to see him play, and people were like throwing their like girls over their shoulder, and they're like, hit her on the bum, and my grandma was like, okay, and she was like, I'm having so much fun here, and she was telling me about it, and I was like, Graham, everybody was wasted, and she was like, no, I don't think so. No, they were too nice. I was like, okay. And that was another piece, like, you know, she was in recovery, but she helped so many people in recovery, but it was never like, she still joined in the fun, you know, she just wanted to be a part of everything. And I think that's where a lot of our spirituality came from too, just being in the program of AA and helping so many people. She helped so many people, including me. She was the first person I called when I realized I was having a problem with alcohol, and her and my mom brought me to my first meeting. She gave me my medallion every year. And I wore the dress. Well, it's not really a dress. It's like a pantsuit that bells out so much it looks like a dress. I wore that on my first anniversary. So spirituality was a major part of my grandmother's life. And the second theme was my grandfather. And it's hard to describe their relationship. I mean, they met at a dance, and neither one of them liked to dance. And so she said to him, well, what are you doing here if you don't like to dance? And he said, I'm looking for a wife. And he said, what about you? And she said, I'm looking for a husband. And They were inseparable, like, ever since. She thought this was so funny. When he was moving in, she told her sister Ellie, she goes, "Paul's moving in, I'm so happy." And she goes, "When did he ever move out?" You know, so they were just always together. And they had such a funny relationship. Like, most of my amusement in, like, my life came from their relationship. Like, one year for Christmas, Mary bought him a jacket with, like, a fur coat on it, like a fur thing on it. And when I walked in, we were getting ready to go to a party, and when I walked in, I said, "Oh, hey, Papa, when did you start dressing like Britney Spears?" And so he took the coat off, and he was like, "I'm not wearing this," you know, whatever. And then my grandma was like, "You have to wear the coat, you have to wear it." So he grabs the coat, he starts putting it back on, and he's like, "Why can't I get this thing on, Carol?" And she goes, "Because it's mine, Paul." So, because she had, like, a similar fur. And then she goes, "Don't you dare tell Mary and Paul about this." I was like, I'm not good with secrets. I'm not. I can't. You know, and they just had the best relationship. And, you know, throughout being in the hospital, my grandfather was there the whole time. And after she fell on Christmas, she never regained consciousness, but my grandfather was there, you know, holding her hand. And I remember watching him, and he leaned in and he said, "Carol, it's me, Paul, your husband, and I'm the one who's holding your hand, and I'm going to be here the whole time." And he was, and we all were there the whole time. We were all in the room when she passed, and as sad as it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Like, my mom and my cousin Kelly and the rest of us sang, like, the whole time her favorite songs. And her favorite songs were, like, really sad. Like, "You Are My Sunshine" is not a fun song. It's like a sad one. And it was really hard to get through it. Anybody that knew my grandma, I feel like, was lucky and privileged to know her. She was such a good friend to so many people, and I think that's evident from even her high school friends being at her wake. She was always smiling. Even Christmas Eve, her favorite holiday, she made it. She was in the hospital that morning getting hydrated and got to Christmas, and her and my grandfather were in, like, matching outfits. I don't know if they planned it, but they were. And she spent, you know, and we were all there, my whole family, all her children and all the grandchildren, and I think she had, like, the will to live to give us that last holiday with her. I know that, now I'll talk a little bit more about myself. I know that for me, my life is going to be so empty without her, and I think so many people feel that way. I get up in the morning and I go there. I come home from work and I go there. And she always was so happy to hear my stories because, you know, I've stayed in recovery, and I now work with people in recovery, and she would get so happy when I would tell her, you know, "So-and-so's doing good." She'd be like, "Yes, yeah." Like, she truly was so happy. She didn't even know these people, you know, and she just was so proud and so happy, and she's so proud of, you know, all of her children and grandchildren, you know, even the ones that aren't alcoholics. She still cares about them. I wasn't going to be funny. I don't know how this happened. Graham would not have liked this. No, I think, you know, the last thing that I really want to say, that I really want to leave with people is how much she cared about every person in this room, and how much you guys meant to her, you know, before her diagnosis, but afterwards. She just felt so blessed to have so many people care about her and love her. And we're all gonna miss her. But I feel like, you know, she's left us with so many great stories and so many great. She will truly leave a great legacy. And actually, I'm going to tell one more story. I can't leave without telling her favorite story, so I'm going to have to tell it. When she first started going to AA, she was like one of her first meetings, and she didn't want to make a big scene because you don't want people to really know you're there. You like want to get in, get out. You don't want to be talking to people. So she's sitting down waiting for the meeting to start, and someone walks by with a thing of coffee and dropped it on her head. And what she thought was that someone had a lit cigarette and her whole head was on fire. So she started screaming, "I'm on fire!" And she's pounding her head and no one's doing anything, and she can't imagine why no one's helping her. She's burning up in flames, you know? And then she like looks out and she sees coffee like coming down her face. And she's like, "Oh, that was just some coffee. I'm sorry." But I mean, that was her, and she loved that story. She told that story all the time. It was one of her favorites, and it was probably so embarrassing for her, but it doesn't matter. If it was a good story, you were going to hear it, you know. So I will end with that. Thank you so much for coming, and I love all of you, and she loves you all too. So thank you.